Bankruptcies are on the rise, and economic experts expect that trend to continue. I don't think that surprises any of us. But navigating the decision of whether making this move is right for you can be overwhelming. Attorney Shannon Fauver with Fauver Law Office joins us this morning to walk through what you need to know before you file and where to turn for assistance. Shannon, you can provide that assistance, but let's start here because we watch on the news and people may think that they know, but what actually is bankruptcy?
Well, bankruptcy is actually a process where you get to wipe out your debt. Now, you don't lose. I know people think they're going to lose things like their house or their car. That's not exactly how that works. Uh, in most cases, you can keep your house and your car if you can afford to make those payments if you get rid of the rest of the debt. Now, that's a generalization. I wouldn't know specifically without talking to the person if that applies to them. But basically, if I have to sign off saying I think you can make those payments, and then if I do, usually the judge will too. That's part of our job.
So, at what point should you consider filing for bankruptcy? So, I mean, who should file, and also why?
Whenever you get to a point that you can't pay your bills back, that's when you need to look at it. Everybody's different. There's not a specific number that you have to owe, which I know people think sometimes. It's whenever the point that you will not be able to realistically make those payments and pay like your rent or your mortgage and your car payment, because you shouldn't have to, worry about feeding yourself in order to pay like your credit card bills or things like that. And in this day and age, you're also looking at rent payments. You can file bankruptcy on your past rent, but that means, you probably are not going to be living there anymore, but not on your future rents. If you stayed in the apartment, you can file on your past rent, but not the future rent.
What have you seen when people take that first step? They give you a call, they make contact with you through your website because I know, I mean, and I've been close to it before. There can be a lot of, I mean, it's very emotional.
A lot of times for people, the hardest step is actually deciding to file because a lot of people raise that they don't do that. They pay their debts. That's what they do. So for a lot of people, almost every time somebody comes in, there's crying, not on my side, but there's crying because they're so stressed about having to take that step. But having to take that step, which means the creditors can't call you anymore, it means that you won't get harassing phone calls, letters, texts, whatever. And that's such a huge relief for most people that that's probably why some of the crying comes in. Some of it's stress and some of it's just a relief. The way it works now is court is online, well, on Zoom. So anything that's filed in the next few months will actually be on Zoom. So we have court, but we won't have to go to court.
And then what does that process look like? Once they make that phone call, they contact you, Shannon, what can they expect in terms of, I guess, a generalization in terms of time?
Okay. If somebody had to file in the next few days because they're getting garnished or something like that, I can email them the packet. I can mail them the packet. They can come pick it up. At this point, I'm not meeting with clients in the office. I will meet with clients on the porch, which is nice because it's an old Victorian. I have the porch. So I'll meet them out there. But if they get me all the homework and the fees and everything, I can get them filed in 24 hours. And then court is in about a month. And then 60 days from court, the case is over. So it's really 90 days when they file. Generally, everything's done and they can start over again.
Is there anything else that you think is really important for people to know when it comes to bankruptcy?
The biggest thing is right now, because attorneys are aware of the fact that bankruptcies are going to be on the rise. So please go to an attorney that knows what they're doing, and they have been doing this for years. I've been doing this for 15 years. There are people who have, and I've seen some really nice websites, but they are brand new at it, and they really don't know what they're doing. And it's not something you can just pick up and do. It's very complicated. The attorneys are responsible to the court, you, and the creditors to make sure the paperwork is right. So you want somebody that has been doing this for a long time.
Now, you brought up the beautiful Victorian porch. You're located right there in Clifton and Frankfurt Avenue. So what areas of law are you practicing?
Well, along with bankruptcy, I also do Social Security disability. I do some civil rights, traffic tickets, basic wills, that kind of thing.
And how long have you been practicing? And Shannon, I mean, you're enmeshed in this community. I mean, so you practice, but you also, I mean, you live here, you work here, you play here.
Yes, my family's actually been in Louisville since 1873. And I'm a fourth generation attorney. I wasn't planning on being an attorney, but after Peace Corps, I decided that was the best way to help people. But I own my own business. I am involved in local community. I'm on the little SPDM school boards for my kids' schools. I'm in charge of some of the scout stuff. I mean, things like that. I was raised to be involved, not just there.
What's most rewarding for you about practicing law, especially because you said this wasn't what I anticipated doing, but I mean, here you are, and it was the best way that you found that you could help people.
Yes. Well, that's why I said after Peace Corps, I said this was the thing for me to do because every day I get to help somebody change their life. Even if it's just a traffic ticket for people who've never done it, it's very stressful. They don't want to lose their license. Bankruptcy is giving a fresh start. I've done some civil rights cases, but the fact I get to help people every day is actually why I'm an attorney. It's also why I do some of the areas of law I do because I help people who, Social Security, bankruptcy. Most of these clients don't have any money, so I try to be less expensive than other attorneys just because I know that they cannot afford it.
Absolutely. And I know you also offer them that support that they need. Well, thank you for taking the time and for helping us understand who should file and who should make that call. Appreciate it, Shannon. You can contact attorney Shannon Fauver and the Fauver Law Office by calling 502-569-7710 or just visit fauverlaw.com.